Welcome to SSR Pharma Media, your trusted source for pharma knowledge. Today's series, Decode the Pharmacopoeia, MCQs made simple. Pharmacopoeia Part-I, going to discuss MCQs. Prepare, practice, succeed. So, Pharmacopoeia, it is a topic present under the pharmaceutics subject and pharmaceutical jurisprudence subject and pharmaceutical inorganic chemistry. So, in these three subjects, pharmacopoeia is present as a one of the topic. Let's move into the pharmacopoeia. So, pharmacopoeia we divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 covered pharmacopoeia introduction, monograph definition and historical journey of Indian pharmacopoeia, years and editions of Indian pharmacopoeia. So, these four topics covered under the part 1 and also the previously asked MCQs and going to ask MCQs. So, covered under part 1. And next in part 2, supplement and volumes of Indian pharmacopoeia, monographs introduction and IP editions and cover colors and important other than pharmacopoeia. So, these four are covered under part 2. So, let's me discuss about what is pharmacopoeia. So, introduction. So, pharmacopoeia mainly is covered the meaning of pharmacopoeia, definitions and purpose and objective of pharmacopoeia, official natures and content of pharmacopoeia. So, you all just read out this slide and let me tell only definitions. Derived from pharmacopoeia is a word derived from Greek. Pharmakon means it's a drug. Opium means to make. So, drug making or receipt for drug. So, this is called pharmacopoeia. So, remaining definitions and all you read it by seeing this slide. We'll move into the MCQs part. The term pharmacopoeia literally means option A, study of drugs, option B, drug making, option C, drug classification, option D, drug testing. So, answer is option B, drug making. So, the pharmacopoeia means drug making. The word pharmacopoeia is derived from Greek word. It's separated into pharmakon and opium. To make, pharmakon means drug, opium means to make. So, meaning is drug making or receipt for drug. Next, the term pharmacopoeia was used in a book on drug standards published in the year of option A 1450, option B 1580, option C 1650, option D 1750. So, the option B is the answer. The first pharmacopoeia word is used in a book standard in the year of 1518. The term pharmacopoeia. Next, the term pharmacopoeia was first used in 1580 in a book on drug standard printed in option A France, option B England, option C Italy, option D Germany. So, the answer is option C Italy. So, Italy is the first country. It is in 1518 in a book on drug standard is printed. The first edition of the United States Pharmacopoeia was published in December 1820. In which language? Option A English only, option B Latin only, option C English and Latin, option D English and French. So, the answer is option C English and Latin. So, the first in the United Pharmacopoeia published in both language English and Latin. Next, the first international pharmacopoeia was published by option A EMEA, option B WH, option C ICH, option D UNESCO. So the answer is option B WHO. The Indian Pharmacopoeia list was published in the year dash as a supplemented to option A 1946 BP, option B 1946 USP, option C 1946 BP USP, option D 1945 BP. So the answer is option A 1946 BP. So Indian Pharmacopoeia list was published in the year of 1946 supplement to BP. The International Pharmacopoeia was published by dash in a year and dash volume 1 and in a year volume 2. So UNESCO 1950 1955. Option B WH 1950 1955. Option C ICH 1950 1955. Option D WHO 1940 and 1945. So the answer is option B WHO 1915, 1950 and 1955. The Indian Pharmacopoeia Codex was published in 1953 and 1955, C 1945 and D 1940. So the answer is option A 1953. So Codex consists of two parts. The first part 190 general monographs are present, and second part formulary of galanicals and other prescriptions are present. The main purpose of pharmacopoeia is to option A promotes sales of pharmaceuticals, option B provide standard specification for drugs, option C list prices of medicines, option D describe pharmacological action. So the answer is option B provide standard specification for drug. So pharmacopoeia are official publications that defines standard for identity, purity, strength and quality of drugs and formulation to ensure patient satisfaction or patient safety. Which of the following is not a function of a pharmacopoeia? Option A to describe analytical methods for drug testing. Option B to provide monograph for substance. Option C to prescribe legal penalties for adulteration. Option D to define quality standard for pharmaceuticals. So the answer is option C to prescribe legal penalties for adulteration. So pharmacopoeia defines standards, not laws. Legal enforcement is the role of Drugs and Cosmetic Act or similar legislation. A pharmacopoeia monograph typically includes all of the following except option A description and identification test, option B assay and impurity limits, option C packing and storage requirements, option D clinical trial data. So the answer is option D clinical trial data. So of course the pharmacopoeia contains analytical standards and quality parameters but not clinical trial data or pharmacological data are not available in the pharmacopoeia books. So we'll discuss about Indian pharmacopoeia. So Indian pharmacopoeia first mainly it's containing monograph. So what is monograph means? It's a monograph of the completely describes the detailed standards for each drug's definitions, identification, assay, impurities, storage. Basic units of pharmacopoeia. It is the basic units of pharmacopoeia is called monograph. So which of the following best defines a monograph? So the answer is option B. A detailed written study describing a single drug, substance or class of drugs. So monograph is a detailed and comprehensive documents that provide information on a single drug substance or class of drugs, including its properties, standards, analytical methods, and it serves as an official reference in pharmacopoeias. So which of the following is not actually included in pharmacopoeial monograph? So already we have seen discussed this question. Option A, description solubility. Option B, identification. Option C, clinical trial protocols. Option D, assay and impurities. So of course, clinical trial protocols are not available in the pharmacopoeial monograph also. In a monograph, the assay section is intended to: option A, determine the physical appearance of substance. Option B, identify the chemical structure. Option C, quantitatively determine the amount of active ingredient presence. Option D, describe storage conditions. So the answer is option C. Quantitatively determine the amount of active ingredient present in the given samples. It's the exact content of the active ingredients to find out. It is type of analytical method. The storage section in a monograph provides information about: option A, chemical structure and properties. Option B, packaging material only. Option C, conditions necessary to maintain the stability and potency of the substance. So option D, methods of synthesis. So the answer is option C. Conditions necessary to maintain the stability and potency of the substance. So against the guidance on the temperature, humidity and light conditions are necessary to preserve the stability, quality, efficacy of the drug substance. So what is the primary purpose of including identification test in a monograph? So option A, to ensure the drug bioavailability. Option B, to ensure that the substance is what it claims to be. Option C, to determine the shelf life. Option D, to calculate the molecular weight. So the answer is option B, to ensure that the substance is what it claimed to be. So that means its identification test confirm the authentication of the substance using by specific reactions, spectral data and chromatographic techniques to verify that sample matches the official standard. So we'll discuss about historical journey of Indian Pharmacopoeia. So these are like historical journey. The first, the Indian Pharmacopoeia is commented 1833. So the Committee of East Indian Company recommended publications of Pharmacopoeia. Then it is developed in 1844 and 1868. Then 1869 and 1885. And this is 1885 British Pharmacopoeia made official in India. Then after that, in 1927, Drug Enquiry Committee appointed by government recommended publications of National Pharmacopoeia. After that, 1948, after independence, the Indian Pharmacopoeia Committee was constituted for publications of IP. So after this only, the first IP was published in 1954. So this is the historical journey of Indian Pharmacopoeia. It's very, very important. So you study thoroughly in what 1833 what happened and 1844 what happened. So you should study step by step. So historical journey. So you read this slide carefully. It's very important slide. So in step by step, the Indian Pharmacopoeia development will show. Not only Indian Pharmacopoeia, general Pharmacopoeia. So based on the Pharmacopoeia only, the Indian government has announced to constitute the Indian Pharmacopoeia Committee in order to publish Indian Pharmacopoeia. So the Committee of the East Indian Company recommended The publication of Pharmacopoeia in which year? Option A 1844, option B 1833, option C 1868, option D 1885. So the answer is option B 1833. So in 1833, the East Indian Pharmacopoeia Committee first recommended publishing a pharmacopoeia for India. Which was the first pharmacopoeia that contained commonly used indigenous remedies? So the answer is the first pharmacopoeia that contained commonly used indigenous remedies means option B is the correct answer. Bengal Pharmacopoeia in 1844. So general conspectus of medicinal plants included indigenous medicinal remedies. The Pharmacopoeia of 1868 covered drugs from which sources? Option A Indian Pharmacopoeia 1955, Bengal Pharmacopoeia, British Pharmacopoeia, National Pharmacopoeia. So the answer is option C British Pharmacopoeia. When were vernacular names of indigenous drugs and plants incorporated into the pharmacopoeia? So the answer is option B. In 1869, supplement to 1868, pharmacopoeia added vernacular names. That means local names. Next, the British Pharmacopoeia was made officially in India in which year? So option A 1868, option B 1869, option C 1885, option D 1927. So the answer is option C 1885. The British Pharmacopoeia becomes officially recognized in India in 1885. The Drugs Enquiry Committee recommended publications of National Pharmacopoeia in which year? So the answer is option A 1927. The government appointed Drugs Enquiry Committee in 1927 advised creating a national pharmacopoeia for India. The Indian Pharmacopoeia Committee was established in which year? So the answer is option B 1948. So the Indian Pharmacopoeia Committee was established in 1948. After independence, the Indian Pharmacopoeia Committee was formed in 1948 to prepare the Indian Pharmacopoeia. So next we will discuss about years and editions of Indian Pharmacopoeia. So there are several years. So in first IP published in 1955. The first edition 1955. So after that, so stage by stage, the historical development journey was developed. So after 1955, supplement 1966, then second edition 1985 and supplement 1996 and third editions 2000. Third edition. So second edition, and this one is third edition, and fourth edition, and fifth edition, and sixth one. Next seventh one, eighth one, and finally ninth one. So there are first edition 1955, second edition 1966, third edition 1985, fourth edition 1996, and fifth editions 2007, and sixth edition 2010, seventh edition 2014, and eighth edition 2018. So last editions is the ninth one is a 2022. So for this each one supplements also will be there. So each and every editions there are some special characters are included. That means in the first editions only 986 monographs are present. Supplement is a 1960. And in second editions, so title of monograph changed. That means the language changed from Latin to English, and supplement to 1975. And 85 third editions, So anti-cancer monograph are incorporated. It's supplemented to 1989 to 1991. And in 4th editions and 2000, 2002, 2005 and monograph also 1149 monographs are included, and it's veterinary also included in this 4th editions at 2000 supplemented to 2000. And in 5th editions, so 1623 monographs are added. Some 6th editions also biotech monographs are incorporated, and in 7th editions radio pharmaceuticals are included, and in at the 2018 is the 8th editions. So 8th editions allergens of monograph included, and 2022 is the last IP, and here nitrosamine impurities are incorporated. So you should read carefully and each and every editions of the development. So there are so many questions they are asking from this part also. It's a very important for your point of study, short notes point of view also. It's very helpful. So Indian Pharmacopoeia, this is the up to 9th edition, 1st to 9th. So this is the historical development years, and you read it. I have shown in the previous slide as the pictures. So read it from this slide. We'll move into the questions. The first edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in, so option B, 1955. So 1955 only the first Indian edition of Pharmacopoeia was published. So under the chairmanship of Dr. B.N. Ghosh. So it is marked India move towards an independent set of drug standard after independence. The second edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in, so option A, 1966. So second edition came out in 1966. So incorporating new drugs and amendment after 1955 editions with a little change from Latin to English. So third edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in option A, 1985. So introduced its containing anti-cancer monograph and added in 1989 and 1991. The fourth edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was released at 1996. So it containing 1149 monograph in 2 volumes. And which year marks the publication of 5th edition of the Indian Pharmacopoeia? Is the option B, 2007. So 5th edition is published in 2007 by Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, so IPC. The 6th edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in option B, 2010. So 6th edition 2010 incorporating biotechnology monograph also. In which year was the 7th edition of Pharmacopoeia was released? So the answer is option C, 2014. So 2014 it released. It has 4 volumes and including separate veterinary volume also. 8th edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in, so the answer is option B, 2018. So 2018 it published. It contained Ayurvedic monograph and had addended in 2019 and 2021. 9th edition of the Indian Pharmacopoeia was released in which year? So 2022 is the last editions, 9th editions. So it features 152 monographs it's containing, adding it included phytopharmaceuticals and biosimilar content. The first Indian Pharmacopoeia committee was formed before which editions? So the answer is option A, 1955. So before 1955, 1948, the first Indian Pharmaceutical Committee was constituted. So after that, the publication of the first editions, 1955. Okay. When was the first edition of the Indian Pharmacopoeia published? So answer is 1955 is the first Indian Pharmacopoeia published. You answer, you tell. I told, sorry. Thank you. So all of you join in our WhatsApp community. You will get hands-out material and you will get number of test series. You join in our WhatsApp community. Thank you. If you like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Prepare, practice, succeed.